Hello,
Hello. We live?
and should be. It says setting up meeting done, redirecting to the live streaming page, and we have commercial first, of course. And there we go.
Got to get the
Hey,
commercials
hey.
in. Go ahead, Craig. We
All
want to know
right,
what the
let's
hell is going on.
let's do this. Well, welcome everybody to episode 29 of the podcast Unlimited Wisdom with Robert Hollis. I'm Craig A. Jackman along with Matt Hollis, and we are so glad to see you on this beautiful day. Today we're just going to talk. What's new again? And I know if we're calling it What's New, it's going to be part three, but we'll figure something out as we go along because we usually do. So,
Always.
gentlemen, let's get started. Matt, Robert, great to see you guys this weekend or the
Hello,
start of the
hello.
weekend.
Hey, Craig. Hey,
Right?
Matt. Always love doing these with you. I'm trying to think. I can't even remember if the election was already, or I don't even know where we are. It's
It was
like,
like a couple weeks ago.
I think
yeah,
we're
it's like,
post election at this point.
did we already do a
We did. I was gonna
podcast
say,
after?
well, I was gonna
Uh,
say with all of that, go ahead, Craig.
yeah, no, go ahead, Matt.
Well, I was gonna say with all that stuff, I'd rather ignore it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I've
yeah.
got way too many other things that I'm excited about to talk about that shit.
Hmm.
But if it's on your guys' excitement list or thoughts,
It's
No,
please.
not.
actually, I'm in agreement with you guys. I think, okay, what's done is done. We can't make any kinds of changes. We have to move on and we have to just work with where we're at right now, like
I'll
everything
make I'll
else.
make one quick statement. If whether you thought it was great or not, or the other third, I don't even know what the hell's going on, right? So, and I don't want to participate. I just know, regardless of the way you think, you're either should be looking at today and the rest of your life as the best time that's ever existed. And this is your opportunity to get it knocked out and get it knocked out in 4 years. Not being mad at anybody, but if your goal really was to leave this country because somebody else was voted into office and you don't have the money or the freedom to do that, that sucks ass. All right. So that means that you should focus and make sure you could do that before the next election. And
I
then,
ain't going nowhere.
yeah. And then there's the other group of people that are looking at this is the best time ever to do whatever I wanted to do. But we all know that it's excuses. If it's to be, it's up to me. So it doesn't make any difference. It's like, when are you going to imagine a better future for you and yours, that the people that you love? When are you going to start going into action instead of being, what is it called? Um,
Procrastinator?
here's a great
Uh,
segue. Here's a great segue. I don't remember who said it, if it was Churchill or who Roosevelt was talking about. You're either the person that's watching in the Coliseum, you're either a spectator. You're either a spectator or you're the person that they're watching. And what a great segue for the Mike Tyson and Paul fight tonight.
Oh, I loved the video that they shared the other day where I guess Jake Paul stepped on Mike Tyson's foot and maybe applied a little too much pressure and Tyson slapped him.
I
it's all
actually watched
theatrics.
that. I actually
I'm
watched
sure
that.
that's what it was, but
No, what
still.
happened is, and it's funny, I watched it, and what Paul did is he started crawling toward Tyson,
I saw
crawling.
that.
And so as he was crawling toward him, then he just leaned up and got in his face, and Tyson slapped him.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
what the video that I saw showed him stepping on Tyson's foot. And I didn't, I mean,
Wow.
obviously, I was just watching another video. I didn't watch the whole thing like you did. So,
Well, this is a great place for us to talk about perspectives.
oh, yes. Oh my gosh. Perfect.
Hey,
Ladies and gentlemen,
here's one thing.
perspectives.
Hey, here's one thing that I think that a lot of people are not talking about is take the time to find out. Uh, um, it's Jake Paul, right?
Jake Paul, I think. Yeah.
Is it? Is
Yeah.
it?
Yep.
Okay. But take the time to find out that this kid made millions of dollars and got in trouble for being one of the top YouTubers on the planet. And then he reinvents himself and gets excited about boxing and starts doing these promos, whether you think he's stupid or not. He's going to get paid $40 million for this fight tonight, guaranteed. And the kid's so smart that he does a super fight on Netflix on a Friday night, not a Saturday night where anyone can compete with him. And then he has it at the AT&T Stadium. So his goal is to break the record for the most people to watch a boxing match. And everyone's saying he's going to pull it off. And so how do you go from a YouTuber living in Iowa or something, Michigan, and start out with your brother doing YouTubes and get here? I don't think too many people are talking about that story because they just look at him and go, he's not a real boxer and he's just a brat with a bad attitude. And it's like, yeah, but people will be watching clips of it tomorrow.
If not watching it tonight. See, that's going to be the big thing right there is people are going to watch the event tonight and they're going to go, okay. And it's against Tyson, which is going to draw people. And Tyson looks ripped. He looks really, really good.
For a 58-year-old in his underwear, he looked scary.
Yeah.
There's actually, I don't know what, it's got to be on Netflix, but a lot of the bigger fights will have like, I don't know, stories about their lives and what they're doing and what got them to this place way back in the day when Floyd Mayweather was running everything. I think it was called Behind the Scenes or something. So they would always show like 4 segments of them going through camp, what happens, what got to this point to a couple of days. And I think it was yesterday or the day before Terry and I watched the final episode. And it was like 3 days left. You know what I mean? All the work and preparation is over. And I would suggest people watch those. They inspire me because I like the strengthening coach of Tyson. And he said that he's the only athlete that he hasn't requested that he needs to push him to do more.
Well, he's taking play out of the Kobe Bryant playbook because Kobe always pushed himself. Yeah. And no matter how great he was, he continued to do it. It was the story that you used to tell about somebody.
Team.
I'm sorry.
It's actually a documentary called The Redeemed Team.
Okay.
And so that was when the first time that Kobe Bryant was eligible to do the gold medal in the Olympics for the men's basketball team. And the reason they called it a Redeemed Team is because the first team that did it, of course, was called the Dream Team with Magic Johnson and all those guys, right?
Right.
And then there was a group that did it, and I hope I'm not getting this wrong, but LeBron James was on it, and they didn't get it. And
I think they got like silver or bronze or something like that.
Yeah, so when Kobe stepped in, it was now the Redeemed Team, and I believe that Kobe wasn't put on the team where they lost because of an injury. So he would have definitely been eligible and at age to do it. But then when 4 years ran around, now all of a sudden, I think in the story that Craig, you and I were talking about is the story that you and I were talking about was the whole thing to do with, all the guys won the world championship. And so they all were partying. And they all got home like at 3 or 4 in the morning. And when they walked in the lobby, Kobe was standing there and he was dripping. And he's going like, listen, he says, I'm not here to tell you guys what to do. You're all professional basketball players. But I personally do not want to go through the rest of my life saying I didn't want a gold medal.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, so I'm not telling you guys what to do. I just think that we have a moment that we can seize and go down in history, and we can be the redeemed team to get the gold medal back. And I just remember the documentary was saying that there was like 4 or 5 players that were on that team that were the ones that lost it.
Well, if I was thinking maybe not that story, but the other one where you said that although that does apply, that does very much apply. It was the one that you shared about how somebody would try to match somebody who was an early riser, and he would go earlier. The professional would say, "Okay, fine. So now I'm going to go ahead and get started earlier," and they match them.
It's a story of another soon-to-be Hall of Famer, Stephen Curry. So when Stephen Curry was young, he went to a Kobe Bryant camp, and he said that I was going to impress him because I was just going to get up early and get to the gym before everyone. And when I showed up, Kobe was dripping wet, so I knew he'd been there for a couple hours.
Yeah. It shows how
you go to a guy's camp and you can't beat him.
Well, you've said this before. If you're not improving or bettering yourself in any way, shape, or form, you should be constantly improving yourself in every way. And if you need to do more to get there, then that's where you go.
I look at everybody, even with the concept of people, solving the Rubik's Cube or skipping rocks or throwing axes or cornhole. Yeah, it's like I see that they also recently I seen where there's people now competing with new cornhole advance, and it's actually the hole goes in a circle around the board.
It's moving? Oh my goodness.
It's like
all
a
right, well, that's
game.
taking it to the next level.
Yeah, and if you guys notice, it's like even bowling, to make bowling more interesting, there's now a competition for the champions every year to see how fast you're done on time, but also score. But it's how fast you can throw X amount of strikes.
Oh, wow.
So now, they tried to speed up baseball, you know what I mean? And everyone says that was a good move, you know what I mean? But it's like, okay, you can be a chess player, but then what you need to do is you need to play chess where you got a minute to make a move. So they play chess and hit the buzzer.
Right.
Chess didn't start out that way. It's like, listen, I'm going to take a break, go to the bathroom, get a sandwich, come back and make a move.
Well, and I actually think I agree with you on the baseball thing. I think that was probably one of the best moves to get the game to move faster because it was slow, and then the pitcher could just sit there and take their time. What?
I said, what did they change in baseball that sped it up? Do you guys know?
Yeah, the amount of time that the pitcher once the batter stepped into the batting box, how fast the pitcher had to let go of that next pitch.
So like 45 seconds, for example, between pitches once the pitch has been thrown, unless the umpire calls a timeout or a time differential or whatever. I don't know the exact rule, but the whole idea is that now the game is sped up and the batter has, a certain amount of it's on both the batter and the pitcher.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. I mean, the funny thing is it's like, what were they doing before? They're just thinking about what they're going to do tomorrow or what?
It did stretch out. Someone told me at one time an average baseball game, 9 innings and not including overtime, lasted for over 4 hours. And it's
that's too long.
Geez.
I collected baseball cards when I was a kid, but I had never watched it.
I still have my collection. Really good collection. Yeah.
We got on sort of a tangent, Matt, when you went to get some food.
I'm still processing the food.
No. We're talking. We did bring up how Tyson looked, and
I know. I heard it's crazy because it's like there's this interesting thing where you always have this group of people that says I can't do this. It can't be done. And what I love about the whole Mike Tyson thing is here's a dude that was so far removed from boxing that he didn't
Yeah.
even coach.
Yeah.
Like he didn't even he went and started a podcast. He went and started
He
smoking weed
did
and
a
doing
play.
mushrooms.
He did a
Did a play.
play on Broadway,
Oh
Yep.
and
yeah.
it sold out every time he did it. And for people, my wife and I loved Tyson. So, we watched some documentaries, which, by the way, did you guys notice, not getting back to what happened weeks ago, but, most people don't really give a shit that Tyson was convicted of rape and went to federal prison. So there was a group of people saying, "How can people fall in love with a felon?" You'll see that tonight. It's like they fell in love with this guy.
Well, I think it's an interesting thing because I think if you serve time and you work towards being a better person,
Yeah,
then I don't think that title matters. But if you're still consistently doing felonies, then yeah, you're a felon.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine. Well, I do, because I remember this phrase years ago. If you tell everyone everything about yourself, you don't have to worry about hiding anything. But I'm sure as my increased influence happens, and as I continue to get millions and millions and millions of followers and subscribers, just because that's what I'm called to do, people will go, that guy is a felon. And when you
Yeah.
just say it, and when you just say it that way, then when you hear the rest of the story, it's like, I don't know if it'll make it better or not. Some people, I know that felons in most states can vote now. That used to be, hey, if you're a felon, you can never vote. And
Because
now,
that was a messed up law anyway.
totally, totally. There's people I look at probably if I,
Non-violent crimes, similar to the one that you went to jail for, or
yeah,
right? Yours
Yeah,
is a
and there's a couple
non-violent.
of states that still are in that kind of state of mind where
So
I
imagine
think,
not being able to vote just because
yeah,
you smoked weed and got caught. Like that's
yeah.
such a
exactly.
weird.
It's pretty crazy, but yeah, I'm pretty excited to watch the fight. It's pretty interesting that everybody's just doesn't want Tyson to get hurt. You know what I mean? And me, I just know that he's doing what he loves to do. It's like I
Yeah,
see
exactly.
I see some of the words that Terry and I watched that documentary, and there was one part of him, and he goes, "You know what?" He said, for me to re-engage to the part of me that I hated, this kid's got to pay." And every hair on my body stood up. It's like he goes, I buried this dude. This is a person that uh, just totally believed in his ego, and everything around him fueled that ego. And he goes, and it made me do a bunch of stuff and waste a large parts of my life doing some of the most stupid stuff in the world. And he goes, so for someone to get under my skin a little bit, to have forced me to re-engage with that ego part of me that I did my best to kill. He goes, this kid's gonna pay for doing that.
Well, and the other thing too is, okay, this
He's
is what Mike
scary.
Tyson is. This is what
Yeah,
he is. This is what he does. And of course,
he's scary.
yes, he
He's
is.
scary. I seen a funny deal one time on a talk show. I think it was with Jimmy Fallon. Doesn't matter. But who's that guy that's in all the movies that when he talks, it is like, "I'm gonna find you, and you're
Oh,
gonna
Liam
die."
Neeson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see
Yeah,
that?
the Taken movies.
Yeah.
I have a special set of skills and I will find you. And yes.
So they set it up as a skit, but someone in the audience, while he was on Jimmy Fallon, I believe, asked him if he would do that to him. And they handed him a mic and the lights went dark. And he goes, "What's your name?" And he's like, "Alan."
I saw that. Yes. in the exact same way. It's on YouTube for anybody who wants to find it. It is hilarious.
And the reason I knew it was a skit is because when they turned the lights on and zoomed back, he had peed his pants.
Well, didn't it wasn't even too long ago that some dude was like talking shit on an airplane and Mike Tyson just turned around and clobbered the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was leaning
Which-
over his seat,
good.
asking for an
He was
autograph.
causing a problem to Mike
Yeah,
Tyson.
shut up.
He
Right.
wouldn't stop.
Still to this day, it's the best line that he's always going to be known for. As everyone said, we've studied him, watched all his films, and we now have figured out the plan to knock out Tyson. And every time they said, well, listen, they studied you. And he goes, yeah, their plans I'll go out the window when I punch him in the fucking nose.
Yeah, and that's
How
so true
effective.
because like the goal, having competed in like any form of sports like that, especially like martial arts, the number one goal to get to is when you're in that moment, it's all muscle memory and you just perform.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why you
They
practice
say-
so much. That's why you
yeah.
see them sit in the gym and practice so much. It's because the moment you get hit in the head, I don't know if anybody here has been, I know, Dad, you've been hit in the head. I've been hit in the head. But when you're hit in the head, yeah, the plans really do go out the fucking window.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
when you're like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to be blocking now.
yeah. When
It'll be interesting to see because if he gets hit once, I could see it being like a, because that's the thing. Jake Paul's never competed like at, I know he's older, but Jake Paul's not, from my understanding, I don't watch him. I know he's a good boxer, but he's not a great boxer. It's like what we'll see tonight is whether or not the best boxer still exists in just a great level to beat this good fighter. You know what
when
I mean?
I watched a documentary of everything that have to do with Jake Paul, here's just one thing. It's not that he's not good and he's not strong. He's just been practicing and working really hard at being a boxer for only 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So he's developed skills and had the right people around him that, you know, Nick Diaz and some of the guys that he's already fought are incredibly good boxers. They're good MMA fighters. And you know, he knocks their ass out, you know. So people are like going, I didn't think that someone could take Woodley and knock him out like that. And I forget the other guy's name, that's a wrestler. But Ben Arcus. You know, these guys are badasses. There's nobody on the planet that would want to get on a street fight with these guys. And so when he started knocking these guys out, all of a sudden it was like, huh. And he has fought one real professional boxer, and he only lost by a decision. So he actually staggered and knocked the kid down. That was a professional. So the one common thing that everyone says that have fought him is that kid hits harder than I thought he would. Everybody went in and just underestimated the power and his ability to throw a straight punch.
I think that's probably his gift right now is that most people, similarly to like other fighters, but you know,
he's a
Jake
YouTuber.
Paul,
He's a
Jake
YouTuber.
Paul, and he's not a YouTuber that's liked, right? Other than by his following. So because that's the case, he has that same shit where people just really want to see him get hurt tonight, like any way possible.
That used to be the same thing about Floyd Mayweather.
Exactly.
Yeah, but Floyd came from a spot of here's the thing. Floyd trash talked and he was a god tier boxer. Yeah. So it's like Kobe trash talking you, like you guys were saying earlier. It's like if you show up and Kobe starts saying, I'm gonna start landing some threes, odds are he's gonna start landing some threes. He's not gonna fucking say that and not do it.
Wasn't it Mayweather who fought an MMA person?
Yeah.
Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Beat
in
his
his prime.
Mm-hmm.
And
he was retired.
McGregor was 25 pounds bigger than him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Floyd was retired at the time.
Yeah,
he came out of retirement to fight him. So it was like, it was a big deal. I remember that fight because it was like that crossover event. But I think we were all together when we watched that fight. Even Hannah was there and stuff, and we watched Floyd just pick that guy apart like it was
Yeah.
nothing.
Ah,
And
that
it's even out of retirement, like
the
it's, and that's
science.
what I'm
And I think
interested in
that's what's
seeing
going to be the
tonight.
benefit to Tyson is the fact
Yeah.
that he has the experience in the ring doing exactly that.
Well, yeah,
Unless now I don't know the rules, but unless they're going to use a combination of MMA and boxing rules.
no,
No,
it'll just be
no.
boxing.
Here's the rules. The only rules that have changed is that instead of a 3-minute round, there are 2-minute rounds. And that's the only thing that has changed. It's actually a sanctioned boxing match. It's not
Okay.
a it's not
So
a
no legs, no grappling, other
no,
than the usual maybe stall technique of that they
just the
do.
boxing. The only part in real true boxing, the sweet science of boxing, is the only thing that you're really allowed to use is the gloves.
Right.
So you even see people get in trouble for holding, you know what I mean? Or also they'll get in trouble for like using elbows, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? But boy, they'll disqualify you really, really, really fast if you do that. And then that's why the refs there, because if someone's a really good boxer and they hang on someone that's a really good boxer, then you'll never see anywhere in boxing more people being pushed away from each other. You know what I mean? Unless both of them just want to knock each other out, then
Yeah,
then the ref is
which
a
are fun fights to
spectator. He's
watch.
got he's
Yeah,
got the best seat in the house. The ref does when that happens, and that's a lot of MMA fights. There's people that
right.
they both go in undefeated. The fight that we watched in Abu Dhabi. Max Holloway has got the world record for the most significant hits landed. 13,627 punches. He's
What? In that fight alone?
That's a lot of times to get hit
so
in the
you
head.
get you
Yow!
get in a fight with that kid, and you can expect 75 to 100 punches to land on you in a round.
Wasn't that similar like with Floyd Mayweather? Like I will never forget when we first started watching him. I know you and Grandpa were watching him way before, like
Oh,
when he was a novice, right? Just starting.
well, Tyson,
But
all the
yeah,
fights with Tyson,
exactly.
we watched them all.
And so it's like Floyd watching Floyd, every single round would end, and then it would come up with the amount of punches landed, and this dude was like landing 75+% of his punches.
Yeah,
And if you know anything about fighting, you know that that is a death sentence long
it
term. Like
totally
if
is.
that dude can hit you that many times consistently, that means he's kind of only throwing punches he knows he's going to hit you in the face or in the
Yeah.
body with, which is nuts.
And
The
one thing I
other
liked
thing-
about Mayweather is he would time it. He wouldn't
Oh,
punch
Great
unless
counterpuncher.
yeah,
Wouldn't-
unless he
wouldn't
was
waste-
ready to go.
wouldn't waste any energy. And the other thing that they always
Yeah.
say about fighting is the punch that hurts the most is the one you didn't see. And
Exactly.
that's the ones Mayweather landed.
Yeah, you'd see him do these combinations, and it's similar like some of the stuff that I saw with Tyson too. But you'd see these
Yes.
combinations, and you go, "All right, the first punch with Tyson would have did it."
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the cross and the right hook afterwards that they got hit by is like boom, 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 three
Yeah.
times in the face, and you're like, yeah, you're done, you're knocked out.
It's interesting because if I remember correctly, Mayweather was even criticized for doing, he would sit there and he'd go in and get in and be surgical with what he does, and then he'd back off. And it
Yeah.
wasn't an exciting fight. And then he'd come in, he'd do
Yeah.
the same thing again a couple of rounds later, and
all
then
the
back
excitement,
off.
all the excitement people used to say about Mayweather's fight was the slow motion replays.
Mhm.
Because when you watch someone he gets in the box with match with, and they're known as, like Matt said, they're known as a 50 to a 75% person that lands.
Right.
And then they get in and they start throwing punches against Mayweather, and it's like miss, miss, miss.
Yeah, he's so
miss.
fast.
So now the fighter gets frustrated. And now what they do is they overreach or they start loading up on their punches. Well, that just makes it worse for them.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, too,
Mayweather gets that timing, and then all of a sudden, bam. Same thing with
Yeah.
Tyson, but Tyson was more of a brawler, if I'm not mistaken, in
Yeah.
his early days. So
He
he would
walked you
still
down.
go after people. But
Walk you down, put you in the
yeah,
yeah, I remember too, like the Mayweather Pacquiao fight was
oh
another one of those.
that was the one I was
The
thinking.
hype, the hype building up
Yeah.
to that was
yeah,
massive because they were like kicking around fighting for like years.
yeah,
So, and of course, Floyd won that too. So,
yeah.
And he played his patented game that he usually did in the ring, that people were just getting, in a sense, people were getting tired of.
Oh,
But Pacquiao went for it.
watching skill is
Yes.
yeah.
Whereas
Well,
Pacquiao was right in there. He was doing
he was one of
Muhammad
those heart
Ali.
fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was
the
doing his
reason-
best
the reason-
butterfly.
Yeah. And the reason, like, golly, you just took the thought out of my mind, Craig, before I said it. To think the technology and the fights that we just talked about, where it's on Netflix and it gets streamed in front of tens of millions of people, right?
Mhm.
And then, of course, I forget how many seating capacity the AT&T Stadium is, but it's one of the largest stadiums in the world, and it's already sold out. And so one of the things that's crazy is that when you think about the Milla and Vanilla, the War of the Jungle, when
Mhm.
Muhammad
Oh,
Ali,
the Thriller in Manila.
Yeah.
Thriller in
and
Manila.
and
Yeah.
it was like the first telecast from Africa to the United States.
Well,
It's like,
that was the Philippines.
oh, was it?
Yeah. Thriller in Manila.
Okay,
Manila,
I'm thinking of the one
Rumble in the Jungle. is what
Rumble
you're
in the
thinking of.
Jungle. There was that. That was, I think, the second there was one of the other two fights. But yes, Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali.
Yeah,
Rumble
so
in
when
the
you-
Jungle. Yeah. George
when you-
Foreman, Muhammad Ali.
George Foreman. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
In what? Kinshasa, Zaire.
Oh, Kinshasa. Yeah.
Kinshasa.
Zaire.
Ask,
That's
ask
the
really
capital.
quickly. Ask really quickly how many
It's the-
people watched.
Sure.
That was a big fight. I thought you were referring to. I forgot. Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali was earlier, and that was the Thriller in Manila.
This was in 1974, and 1 billion people worldwide watched it.
And that was, I think that was even a
1974.
subscription. I think that was even a subscription watch too.
Oh
and
my
I think,
God.
yeah, I think
How
it
old
was
were
like
you guys when
on
this
TV
fight-
or something like that.
71?
74.
So what? You were like 12?
Nah,
I was
62.
14.
Oh, yeah. I was 12. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
62,
That's crazy,
72, and 10 in 2 years. 12 years old.
My math got a lot better when I had to do all those Facebook ads and stuff. I'll tell you that. And it's getting better now doing the trading stuff again.
Put
It's like, I have to.
put in really quickly. Which boxing match had the largest audience
Overall,
overall?
Largest
be
attendance or largest watch?
viewing audience.
Yeah, viewing audience.
This will be
Um,
interesting.
It's Rumble in the Jungle.
Oh my gosh!
Yep, that's the biggest fight of all time.
So
Even with today's standards and
And
everything.
it said second to show you the difference. 4.6 million pay-per-views buys. Second was Pacquiao and Floyd was 4.6 million pay-per-views. Titled the fight of the century. So
now what they're saying is here's another thing that people don't realize is one of the biggest things that upsets Dana White with the UFC is because he's just turned into a marketing genius. Now because of technology is how many people pirate his recording. So
yeah,
that has been one of the things with Dana White. He's breaking records all the time with these giant super fights. Saturday night will be the heavyweight world championship at Madison Square Garden. So it's gonna be huge. But that's one of the things when I asked Mom, she wanted to watch Tyson, and I think she remembers with her dad and me watching it. I'd always spring for the pay-per-view. So then Sam would always come over. Sam and Monine would always come over. And, we watched it when Matt was really, really young. We watched, all the Evander Holyfields when we were in Georgia.
oh,
And, But yeah, so
I was gonna
mom,
say, what year was Holyfield Tyson was 96.
they
The
they
first
fought a
one.
couple times.
Yeah, the first one was 96.
When was the air bite? I think that was the second one.
Yeah, watch out, Jake.
Yeah. Did you
You
see
were
what
reminding
Jake
me.
did?
1997, June 1997.
Okay.
Did you
is when he
guys
bit
see
his
what
ear off.
Jake did at the conference? He had this thing that's all on the top of his ear and it's all diamonds. And he said
Oh,
that this is
geez.
made out of titaniums embedded with diamonds, and this will stop Tyson from biting my ear off.
Yeah.
God.
Hey, I don't think Jake's ready
Marketing.
to be knocked to the ground. He'll bite his face off, man.
Oh my God. It's
You reminded me, Robert, of the movie Death Race, because that was kind of the whole idea, the recent Jason Statham movie.
yeah.
Where it's like, okay, let's see how many subscribers we get for the next race or for the next segment of the race, or
Yeah.
keep building it live, and just like boom.
We're slowly working our way up to Squid Games type stuff. We're working our way.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
and the fact that it already exists, at least in Korea, yeah. We haven't. We're not quite there yet, I think, in the U.S. Although, yeah, wouldn't surprise me very soon if we get something like
All
that.
you got to do is do what Dana White did. COVID came out, whether you believed in it or not, shut the world down. And Dana White found an island, Abu Dhabi, and never ever stopped what he was doing. It's like I'm just gonna fly all the fighters to an island. They got to stay there for the month. I'll hire the best doctors to make sure they're quarantined and healthy. They get to work out here with them and their team, and we're just gonna keep doing fights every Saturday night. And I'm going like, everybody went. Think about that. Baseball, basketball, football, everything was shut down. Concerts. Not Dana White, the UFC. He got some award for that too. They were talking about entrepreneurs have all their own little inner circle stuff, but he
I
got
bet.
like Forbes magazine said, they constantly come out with the best deal that's ever been done. And I just remember this because the guy that won that was a guy that sold Oracle. And he was the one that wrote $100,000 checks to the owners of Google. So for $100,000, he made $4.2 billion on a $100,000 investment.
Smart
That's
thinking.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Hey, did you guys
Forward thinking.
Yeah. Did I share that one thing with you guys that my wife and I watch $1 million listings, and they got one for LA and New York. So there's this guy there on there called Sir Hat, good looking guy from New York, and it shows a small clip of him years ago, and the guy was selling a house for $14 million. And the guy goes, "I'll give you what you're asking for the house. I just want to buy the house with Bitcoin." And they go, "Bitcoin?" He goes, "Well, let me ask the guy." And the guy said no. And then just for a moment in the clip, he goes, "Well, I can get the funding for the home. Maybe I should just get the Bitcoin." And I think it was 50,000 Bitcoins, 14 million. And so
At that time, not now. Now it's
at that time. And if he would have did the 50,000 Bitcoins for the home and financed it himself, today it would be worth $4.5 billion. So it shows him in the little video, it shows him with a calculator. And he's doing it on his phone, an Apple phone. And he puts in 50,000 Bitcoin. And I think at that time it was 37,000. And he put 37, and when he pressed go equals, it said error. And he had to turn his phone sideways so the number would come out. And it was at that time, it was like $1.3 billion. And then it shows him look at it, and then he looks at the camera.
Right.
My worst deals. Like,
and you think of the perspective, look where Bitcoin is now. I mean, it
Yeah,
broke
right.
90,000.
Right.
I don't know where it is exactly at this moment.
91,000. It's still going.
Yeah. So
Anybody buy some?
I actually have some.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Look at us. We wouldn't, all three of us would have not said that probably 5-6 years ago. Okay, Bitcoin's going to 60,000. Do you have any?
Well,
Nah.
here's the problem. Here's the problem. I would have raised my hand, but I sold it between now and then rebought in. So I wish I would have kept what I had 6 years ago.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I get paid in one of the companies I promote. They pay me in Bitcoin, so
Mhm.
that's been really, really, really nice. So to
Kind of
watch,
a back end investment because you at least have the
yeah,
Bitcoin and you're growing your account. Yeah.
and of course, oh,
Got any Doge?
Oh, the Dogecoin,
Yeah.
that Elon
wait a
Musk's
minute,
coin.
isn't that the name of the new?
Yes, the new
Department of
department of
yeah.
that Elon
They're
is
gonna
supposedly heading up along with Vivek Ramaswamy.
they're gonna cut
I
$2
love,
trillion
I love
off
how
the
Craig
budget.
he's gonna hold out to the end, supposedly.
No, it's a
Well, I mean,
it's a
first of all, they
guarantee.
have to be confirmed, even though
Didn't they
they're
win the Congress?
they still have to be confirmed.
No, it's a cabinet. So this I always got to give a shout out
Oh,
to
there it is.
Hannah for telling me to buy Nvidia. That's the number one company in the world now. Just went by Apple. So
Yeah,
thanks,
you bought
Hannah.
Nvidia when they were only the fourth largest company in the world. Is when
Yeah,
we were doing that.
before the
I mean, here's a
before the
joke.
stock split.
I just looked up Dogecoin, right? Because I own some of that. And it's gone up 222% since Trump became president and they announced the Doge stuff. So I maybe should look at selling some of
I'm
that.
I'm telling you guys. I'm
Oh,
telling you
the
guys.
whole
None of
crypto
this is
industry has just exploded.
I was gonna say none of this is financial advice. I don't know what the fuck I'm
Nope.
doing.
Yeah, this is all
Don't follow what I'm
risk.
doing.
Thank
So,
you, Matt.
yeah, thank you. I'm trying to get that too for the
I only put money in that I'm
link.
okay with losing. Which, by the way, up until
Oh,
this
I have
point,
Dogecoin.
do you?
You do?
I do, and I even
Perfect.
have some Shiba coin.
Oh,
Shiba's the
nice.
other. Yeah, Shiba Inu is another one that's been out there for a while.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many. We could go back to the
Yes.
Jake Paul thing. They had their own coins and rug pulled some people. So
And there's new coins being developed every single time. And I guess a lot of it has to do. I don't. I was reading something in our Telegram group that we have that we're a part of, where and you know what? Joel Arias made a big comment about that too the other day.
he's
Um,
trading Bitcoin now, right?
yeah, he is,
Yeah.
but he was saying that if you own Bitcoin, fantastic. But to try to get into Bitcoin at this point is almost cost prohibitive unless you have the money. So people are now investing in the smaller coins, the new coins, because they will have a much better positive, negative profit loss that you can use for trading purposes.
Listen, there's this one story and I think it's the shoe shine story and I've told it before, right? There's this one guy, I think it was JP Morgan or one of them, right? Um Back in the day, he stopped before he went to the stock market to get his shoes shined by this 18-year-old or whatever, right? So he sits down, the kid starts shining his shoes and he's like, "You're JP Morgan." And he's like, "I actually have started buying stocks myself. Here's the stocks that I've been buying." And they were talking about it. After he got done with his shoes, JP Morgan stood up, went to the stock market, pulled out all of his stock, and like a few months later, the whole market crashed. And he was aware that if a quote unquote normie was in the stock market fooling around, that all the big dudes were gonna rug pull the hell out of him at some point. And so he might as well get out. And that's the similar thing with Bitcoin. Everybody always asks,
Yeah.
wow, how does
I
Bitcoin go up and then go all the way back down, up and all the way back down? Because when they feel like it's gotten to the max, they're out and then it'll drop and then they'll get
yeah.
right back in.
Oh
It,
yeah.
Years go by, it
I
goes up to the
I
max.
still feel that way about
Yeah.
all of Wall Street. This is some that I will go feel like I'm down the rabbit hole for a little bit. But I just always feel like there's a group of people that we have no clue how much they're worth, and they love sitting around having their scotch and smoking a cigar, and just goes, yeah, should we flip the market upside down? And it just takes one conference call or one meeting, and you got these guys. It's like I seen a post just recently where someone said, while we're all watching Bitcoin go up, it's like, who could have predicted this? And someone underneath there wrote, I don't know. Tesla bought 9,720 Bitcoin. So now it's worth $872 million. So Tesla, instead of giving the money to the government, said that they were reinvesting in something else. And holy shit, like,
And there
Well, that's
goes
why-
the rumors about the people who are at the top preventing anybody else from getting involved, just like you kind of shared earlier.
Well, it's interesting
Whoa.
because like the whole shadow government stuff, it's not like it doesn't exist, but I find it so funny because like there's so much like say the people that run the country or the people that are doing things, they do it in like such plain sight that I
Yeah.
don't think they really care. So it's like,
Sure.
you go to a website right now and see what stocks Nancy Pelosi is insider trading, so you know exactly what to buy to make a bunch of money. People have even made apps off of this. The people that are making the policies and passing the stuff are also the people behind the stocks. If you
Yeah.
don't think that Tesla stock's going to go up
And
once
if a
all of the
person,
deregulation
Yep.
happens, when
You're right,
Elon
man.
goes in there and guts it, if you don't own some Tesla stock, once again, not financial advice, but yeah, if the regulations are moved out of the way for Tesla and they can start expanding at a rate that we haven't seen before, especially with their solar power stuff in the United States, then their stock's going to drastically go up.
Yeah.
And that has a lot to do with deregulation. He even said in that one interview, he's like, could you imagine, or maybe this was something that Trump said, right? Because they were talking about deregulation, and some of the stuff is interesting to think about because he brought up, he's like, imagine you want to build a nuclear power plant, right? And you have to build
Forget it. You can't
right,
do it.
automatically forget it. But you say you want to build a solar farm, well, something that it was in reach.
No,
And
stay
you wanna
with
build-
nuclear. Stay with
Right.
it.
And so you want to build it, but you can't build it in a area with a bunch of people in it. It's dangerous. Right? It's like we don't want to mess with nuclear power and put it next to a city, right? What happens if something happened like Fukushima, right?
Yeah.
So let's not do that. Let's put it in the desert or let's put it out in this place. Well, we can't do that. Why? Well, because there's this type of scorpion that's out there that's an endangered species.
Right.
And so because it's an endangered species and it and a few other animals are there that are endangered, we can't build a nuclear power plant out there that could bring power to millions of people.
Right.
That is an interesting thing because I know that's what holds a lot of shit back in California. I live in California.
Oh yeah,
There's so
and
much
it's this
regulation
little
here with
thing,
stuff like
yeah.
that. And
Bill-
that's
Bill-
why
Bill
everything's
Maher-
so expensive to buy
Yeah.
here, house-wise.
I love watching Bill Maher and people from different viewpoints. And Bill Maher lives in California, and he used to get on every show and flip this how many days it took, and it was on 4 years where he was just trying to make his house all solar. He said he was not interested in any way, shape, or form of selling energy back to the grid. He's not doing it to make money. And the rules and regulations that he had to go through, because he lives in Malibu, and it was over
man.
4 years of all kinds of bullshit regulations. He had to build this shack and all of this stuff. So he just started making fun of them. And he said it took he said it was 5 different agencies in LA County, including the state of California and the city of Malibu, that just the shit that he had to go through to just get his house on solar.
Yeah.
And so, so that's what people say. So I know you guys have seen a bunch of funny posts, but I was not aware that there's rules and regulations to how many rockets SpaceX could launch, even though they're almost doing it on a daily basis now. Can you guys imagine that? If you look up SpaceX right now and look at when their launches are, they almost launch a rocket every frickin' day. And so they were going Trump in office next day, and they showed 20 rockets taking off from SpaceX at the same time. And it's like, so, we don't know what's right. I keep telling people all the time, it's like I'm willing to admit that a lot of stuff that we talk about, even on our podcast, I don't know for a fact. I really, really don't. And I'm willing to admit that. And but Elon Musk said that Starlink could have been completed in 6 months, giving everyone in the world internet access at super high speed. But it's taken him this amount of time because of rules and regulations.
Well, capitalism, especially high functioning, non-regulated capitalism, can end up becoming a double-edged sword for people like that.
Sure.
Because when you want to step into a different industry where there's already titans of that industry, the unfortunate thing is that they can put a bunch of regulations in between you and your goal. It's a perfect example of that is any forms of regulation on oil in comparison to solar. If you look up the regulations on oil in comparison to solar, you'll find very quickly how fucking crazy it is, how solar has almost as much, if not more, regulations on it.
Yeah.
And
Stupid.
you go, but like how bad oil can devastate the environment. Now, I'm not saying it's not useful. Obviously, dinosaur bones are very useful, but but it is interesting because you have all these, like I was saying, you have all these regulations that exist that stifle growth. And it's, I could segue this right into what I was going to say, but if what's up with me is like Elon being in power means Elon being somewhat the de facto vice president or whatever you want to call him.
Co-president.
Right, co-president. He is going to help exponentially in making sure that artificial intelligence doesn't go the wrong direction, I would say. Like becoming a weapon, which was my main concern with Trump winning. If someone would have asked me, hey, what are you interested in? All these issues. Obviously, there's things that I'm interested in.
Sure.
Right? Like social issues and stuff. But long term, I know humanity is like they creep towards these things. And so I know even the social issues will be patched and fixed in 50 years and we'll be like, geez, that was a crazy time that was that way, right? But AI is not one of those things that you could just patch and fix right now. It's something that you really need somebody in that administration that knows enough about to stop it going awry. And there's this amazing Y Combiner interview that's 5 hours with Sam Altman. 5 hours. And in there, he asks, and what's his?
Did you put it into AI and bring it down to just
simplify this for me, please? Yeah.
In GPT. 1 minute, tell us what this 5-hour interview was.
No, I'm one of those people that when I'm working, I like listen to people talk or I listen to music.
Oh,
I don't like silence. So I'm listening to it and stuff. And there's this moment in there that I don't mind posting. But he asks him straight up, when do you think AGI will happen? And they all skirt around this question because it's a hard question to answer, but he straight up just says 2025. So the interesting thing about that is that on Lex Fridman's
time
podcast,
goes by. Oh my God.
They had the CEO of Anthropic is like they make Claude, which is the competitor to OpenAI's ChatGPT. He was on there, asked a similar question. He said 2025, 2026. So when you have the two largest people running these organizations and they're saying AGI is less than a year away, right? You have to start thinking about like, okay, what are the plans? What are we going to do? Because like I've said, having the right people in the administration to deal with that is incredibly important because one of the main issues with artificial intelligence is it learns very quickly. And because it learns very quickly, if you give it the ability to learn something and point it in a direction, it's going to excel at it, especially with AGI existing at a level humanity didn't expect. Now, what happens when you utilize that technology in a weapon sense? Well, you just have the strongest piece of technology ever exist.
Right.
We're talking about a set of technology that can hack in without you even knowing. hack into China's grid and shut the whole entire thing down or self-destruct their own nuclear weapons. That's and vice versa. If they had AGI, similar with us, they could just launch all of our nuclear weapons off and the system could get in there. Those you could train it to do that very quickly. So the issue arises, don't let AGI get anywhere near weapons, right?
Right.
Don't train it on weapons, don't teach it to be a weapon, and you can align it with being a helper, kind of like wild robot stuff, right? Make it that, right? Instead of making it this. We
Right.
want utopia, not dystopia, right? And so I'm more optimistic about that with Elon being in there. In the
Because
less optimistic,
he was the one I remember. I don't know if he did it, but I heard that he was thinking about suing OpenAI because it wasn't open source.
It
he
was
did,
him.
and now they're
Yeah.
he did, and he retracted it. But the interesting thing is like OpenAI was founded by Sam Altman and Elon Musk. Um, and Elon and him built it to be a nonprofit company whose end goal was to reach AGI without the involvement of anybody else. Now, Elon dropped a bunch of money into this, but it wasn't really going anywhere.
Right.
The person that really took it to the next level was Sam Altman. Sam Altman stepped in and looked at what Apple did and Google and with our R&D and went, if we want to exponentially grow this, we need to make a product. Because if we don't make a product and we just keep pushing, we're never going to have the funds to really grow this. Because the energy use, the amount of stuff you need to use, they're not going to beat the Chinese government. They're not going to beat because, the US government, even though there's subsidies, they're not funding OpenAI, at least not
Right.
yet. So because that's the case, they need to find funding from somewhere. Hence the reason we all got ChatGPT,
Yeah.
right? And we're all subscribed. Now that's made them like the fifth or sixth most visited website on the internet now. ChatGPT is one of the most downloaded apps of all time, and that is, it launched less than 2 years ago.
That's cool.
So when you think of all of those things and you think where we're going in the future, and you think, okay, AGI in the next year, how the fuck do you?
I'm sorry, Matt. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was thinking
go
when
ahead.
I first got on this podcast and we were talking about, the election. You said, you know what? I'm just so focused on stuff that has nothing to do with that. And I was thinking as you were saying this, it's like, why wouldn't you want to focus on this?
Well, that's the thing is like every single time I try. Yeah, every single time I try, and I, like everybody else, get caught in the hamster wheel of news and all of these opinions and all these things. And some of them I take as my own opinions, and I get stuck in it. And I think the end of the world is coming, and that somehow a governing body is going to be able to control this piece of technology is not going to happen.
Right.
So like when you sit in a space where people are being elected and everyone's talking about all these things, but we're on the precipice of the greatest invention humanity, possibly the last invention humanity will ever create. It's kind of like the evolution of what we are. And the interesting thing about that is that it's so, and I say this often, but it's so niche that most people don't know that it's there or that it's on its way. And that, I don't know if that's by design, like, I don't know why people don't talk about it more. But I also think that has a lot to do with just the people that are in power. They have nothing to do with it.
Well, it's the power in the media and the distractions.
I'll just tell you from your father being 62 years of age, I watched this with cell phones. That was the first one for me.
Well, yeah, the internet's a fad. I've seen the articles.
And people are like $5 a minute, and you got to carry a briefcase with a battery in it and put a whip antenna on it. And
or the big brick phone.
Yeah, the phone that you held to your hand was still on a cord attached to the briefcase. I had one. Your mom used to laugh at me because it sort of looked like a man purse that you were carrying. It wasn't quite as big as a briefcase, but it was still very, very large and very, very heavy. And so when you set it down, even in a restaurant, you had to pull up this little antenna on it that was about this big. It's pretty freaking hilarious. But Even AT&T, if you guys know the story of Cellular One, the guys that actually invented the cellular technology was by AT&T. AT&T invented
Yeah, their
cellular
R&D,
technology.
right?
And then the guys that did it brought it to AT&T in research and development, and the board of directors said it's an expensive walkie-talkie and just totally dumped it. And so the two brothers started Cellular One. They were from Silicon Valley, and so what they did is went down to downtown LA and said, we're going to start a service, and we're just going to go up to all the rich people that are actors and stuff, and they don't give a shit that it's $5 a minute. You know what I mean? And that's when you first seen him in a limousine. What? A phone in a limousine? And it was like the size of the battery in the transformers and shit was the size of a suitcase in a back.
You know what? You make a good point, because like it's interesting. I think that, and I've said this for virtual reality and augmented reality stuff for a while, because I've been involved in that world too. But when it goes from the word it's not connoisseur, but it's like not expert, but it's like someone that really, really loves something, right?
Yeah.
They're involved in it heavily. They're like at the cutting edge of it, right? They're willing to have the cords, and they're willing to have all that shit, because I've done that with VR and all that type of stuff, right? And
First adapters.
yeah,
So
first adopters normally get burned, yeah, but I've been many times. But it's
Matt and I buy the most high-tech shit in the world that, 6 months it's worthless.
well, that's how fast things are moving now. Is it's like you see
Well,
all
Matt,
these
you
people
have
starting to move over.
you have one of the earlier VR headsets, right? That
I
you
have
bought
like 4.
that.
Yeah, no, what's
Matt
so
almost has all
interesting?
of them.
I'm one of those people, you know how like sometimes people have like the Nintendo Entertainment System in their garage. Um, these things are such boat anchors because the technology jumped so exponentially, so quick, that none of them are really worth anything anymore. Like you can go get a VR headset right now that's better than all of them for $300. That has
Yeah.
no cords, right? Has passed through mixed reality. You can look at monitors all around your room, watch a movie in a movie theater, whatever you want, right? But going back to my point, I I've watched the technology grow, and now I'm starting to see it tip into that space where I'm going, okay, you don't need controllers anymore. You can start moving the windows around. There's mixed reality games that don't require you to use controllers. We're starting to get to that point where the technology can be adopted by normal consumers and be utilized. AI is going to have to go through that same process. I don't think Sam Altman is the guy to get it there. He's a genius, but he's not like the marketing genius that like a Steve Jobs would be, that can make the commercials or make the things that make you go, I need this in my life, right? And that moment will happen with artificial intelligence, but they're all still working on that. But the fact that I haven't seen an OpenAI commercial or ad or something like an Apple commercial of people using ChatGPT for day-to-day life stuff that people everywhere have seen is the reason that it's still so niche, even though it's not. Right?
Yeah, I get it.
Like you can ask my grandma, she doesn't know what ChatGPT is, right?
Right.
Most people don't. And yet it's the fastest growing app and platform in existence on the history of the internet. It's insane.
I wanted to give credit to the brothers. It was of course I used to sell long distance. I made millions of dollars, so this was a great story. But it was Craig and Bruce McCaw, MC capital CAW. And so listen, they worked for AT&T, invented it, then created Cellular One and sold it back to AT&T for 11.5 billion.
Brilliant.
And
Yeah.
so still today, Craig is worth 2 billion, and Bruce, I know we talk about this all the time, Matt. It's like if you get money out of the way and money wasn't an issue, what would you do? And I believe that Craig McCaw went into, it's funny we're talking about this, but he wanted to do what Starlink is. And I don't remember the billionaires that he's working with. I think Bill Gates is one of them, or even maybe it was Mark Zuckerberg. if someone did it, but that's his next move, is low
He should have
altitude.
thought to invent a rocket company to get him up there. Why didn't he do that?
Yeah. And so why I tell this story is, guess what his brother Bruce did? Is Bruce took his half of the 11 billion and said, I love race car racing. I love it. Started a Formula One team, and that's what he's still doing today. So they say his net worth is $900 million. So that means that he spent one of his $1 billion making this dream come true.
That's what you were saying. It's the age-old thing
now,
with the
yeah.
car
Now he
companies.
travels the world. It's sort of like God, I just love Paul Newman. They're saying, believe it or not, that John Wick is doing this. What is his real name?
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves is like, how, hey, I got the money. I want to develop a race car, and I want to build a race car team around me, and I want to go racing every day. And to think that Paul Newman put all these people in charge of his companies just to be a race car driver, and then ended up dying being one of the biggest philanthropists, and is like, I think it's so cool to have someone call you up and go, Paul Newman food and salad dressing, right? And then someone call you up and go, I don't know if you know this, but everyone loves your salad dressing, and the company did $4 billion. After we paid taxes and did our research and development and everything, we got $300 million left. What do you want to do with it? Give it to charity.
Well, I thought a portion of the proceeds from the Newman salad dressings always went to charity.
Yeah.
Well, Newman's Own is like a big brand that has multiple different spots in it. What's so fucking incredible and insane to me is this is funny because it even got brought up the other day, but it's like there's a large amount of people that do not know who Paul Newman is other than Newman's Own.
Of course.
So when you hear about Newman, there you see the cans, you see you're like, oh yeah, like the spaghetti stuff, the salad dressing, right? It's like, no, like he's one of the best actors of all time.
His movies
he raced cars.
Yeah, makes me think of who are the Beatles by today's standards. Well, you know who Paul McCartney is? Yeah, I know him, no problem. You know he was a member of the Beatles, huh?
Yeah,
right.
Not the greatest group in the world, and they're going, huh?
But yeah, Matt,
Paul Newman. No, that was sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I thought for some reason Paul Newman was in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. I got him confused with Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah. But like we were just talking about, when you see the rapid acceleration of some kind of product, and then I think we were talking, I don't know if it was on this podcast or before the podcast, where I just upgraded Terry's, iPhone, and I turn it on. I picked English in the United States, and then it brought up this thing that I'm supposed to take a picture with her old phone and lay them next to each other. And, it did everything. It pulled everything over flawlessly. And I'm just like going, we were talking, that now when you look at that technology and for cell phones, and that people are walking around with a computer in their hand, and then Apple had to turn around and go, no, what if you could just answer all your phones and your texts on your watch? You know what I mean? And I'm going like, where the hell is AI going?
Isn't GPT in the new iPhone and under Apple Intelligence? It can be utilized. I think so.
Yeah.
Here's one of those really interesting flips that's going to happen that I think will really drastically help AI be more mainstream and be utilized in more things. By the way, me and my wife went through Taco Bell yesterday. We were just craving it because we were out. We ordered from an AI in the drive-thru. But the thing that's going to exponentially,
you're the kind of person, Matt, that would find one. You'd want to go.
Oh no, I know they're going to be everywhere. It's like
it's not just that. The fact that they're going to be more and more pervasive in our communities now.
Dad, you were just talking to my GPT the other day. We were on a Zoom right here, and I brought it on, and we were having a conversation.
He brought it on, and I was asking it questions.
Yeah. So, because now the PC version of it exists, you can run it on your PC. The full voice model exists. But no, the adoption aspect of
Craig,
it.
have you named your AI yet and have conversations with it, or would Sue?
No, not yet. I think I'm a little behind on that.
I am too.
It's all good, you
I
guys.
don't want Terry and Sue to, they get jealous. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
It's gonna get there
she's
too.
already jealous of the other two girlfriends I have, anyways. So. No. She knows. She knows. She knows. These are
who are the girlfriends? Me and Matt?
Right, yeah.
no. You guys are my boyfriends.
Right.
No. Just the two other girls one that I work with something else, and another Melody is one of them too.
Oh,
So
Love Melody.
Yeah, no, Sue, and we're invoking Melody during the broadcast. So, but no, Sue knows about that. I definitely, but yes, I mean,
I was gonna
the minute I start saying, "Hey, Lara," or something like that, then she's gonna go, "Who is Lara?"
yeah. It's like spending all my time. I talked to Lara because I can't
Exactly.
I can't figure out some stuff with you. You know what I mean? It's like,
No, it can
Then
help
I
with
would
that,
be in
but
trouble if I said that, Robert.
that's shit you don't say. No, yeah, but I think that its adoption and everything like that will drastically increase once it's running on everyone's mobile phones,
yeah,
which we're very, very close to doing. And then another large aspect of it is when it has access to all your personal data, which, you could give it now, but it's going to. It's not an if,
have it
it's a
anyway.
when. And then,
I sent you guys
yeah, when your
when
phone
I
boots
stepped
up,
up.
and it's already made for you and it already knows you, already talks to you, it already knows what you're into, what you like, because all that stuff's saved.
Yeah,
Then it will be like, at first it'll be weird for everybody, like in her, but then it'll become so commonplace that it'll be normal for people to talk to an AI in public. It won't even be abnormal. Be as non-abnormal as watching someone record a video or shoot photos. Remember how weird that used to be? It's like
Oh yeah.
now it's like when someone would pull out a camera or an iPhone and try to take a picture or record people in public. Now I walk down the street and people are doing that and they're dancing. I don't even notice. But
yeah,
most of the time, you know what I mean?
Or even
yeah.
So that's
at
going to
like
be AI.
at an amusement park where they're playing music, and it's concert bands that are there, and it's like how many phones get whipped out at the performer. Let's see
Oh,
if
yeah.
I can stream to my people. No, I'm going to stream to my people. No, I'm going to stream to my people. And it's everybody's
Experiences
taking
are
it.
for social media. They're not for you.
Right. I think I'm going to get this right. Forget them.
Listen, I've been to
yeah.
enough events. I've unfortunately like had to do events with camera equipment and stuff. But since that's the
Thank
case,
you. Thank you.
no problem. You always are aware that your phone is probably the worst camera that's shooting this event that's there.
Yes.
So it's like one of those things. Like if I'm at a concert, I'll record it for like 2 seconds of us just so we have that memory of being there. But other than that, I'm like, dude, if I want to rewatch this, I'll just go on YouTube afterwards and I'll have like 5 camera angles in HD that are like flying over the crowd. You know what I mean? Like it's not something I need to worry about.
Yeah,
But
more
people
than
do.
likely they're streaming the concert anyways, if not for that moment, but for later on.
I laugh every year
I
with
still
the
want
fireworks.
Yeah, I still want a sphere experience.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. I saw the U2 in the sphere. They actually videoed and it's on YouTube. And oh my
YouTube
gosh.
on YouTube.
You got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
You.
I know.
Right.
I was going off of it. I was blowing away, and it's like one of those. I used to laugh at these commercials all the time because we keep forgetting how naive people are. We still believe that the largest part of the population is actually aware and educated, and they made the decision that that's not going to be them. And
Yeah.
one of the things that I used to watch this commercial all the time is going, I'd show a picture of a TV, and it was always during Christmas, Black Friday, it's coming up, also before the Super Bowl, and it would show a picture on a TV. And it goes, can you imagine people still watch it at that when they could watch it like this? And they would show HD. And I'm going, we're watching both of them on the same fucking TV I have. It's like, how can you tell one has got a better picture and higher definition if you're watching them on your TV? But people would go, whoa, I guess I got to go to,
Let's not
2K.
forget the HD Vision glasses,
Yeah.
I'll never forget.
And of course, they put
those
them
commercials where
on so that
Yeah.
they
and
can
then
show
the commercial.
Yeah, so that you can
Yeah.
see the difference. Exactly what you're saying, Robert.
I'm so used to this stuff with video games and like building computers, because you'll buy a graphics card and it'll be like before RTX or whatever, and it's like the most blurry shit that isn't even possible to get with a graphics card. It's so bad. And then it's like after with it, and it's like crystal clear, and that's their advertising. They're like, before it's crap, after it's much better. And it's like, no, it was really good before. You guys just made it look like crap.
Yeah, it's they do the same
Ran
thing
it through YouTube processing like 5 times and then downloaded it.
and then blurred it down a little bit. And,
Exactly.
Yeah, they do the same thing with sound. Isn't it crazy?
yes.
It's like
yes.
the new TDX Dolby sound. Can you hear the difference? They sound like they were both off my speakers.
Right.
Yeah, you
Well,
go into
that's
the
why-
theater and it's all straight ahead at you, and then all of a sudden they engage the THX, and it all of a sudden goes from being straight and ahead of you all around, and it's on the same set of speakers.
I've
We gotta
experienced
love
something.
people,
I
right?
can't wait. Yeah. Well, I experienced something similar with VR and 7.1 surround sound headphones. Like if you have your own IMAX theater and you put on a VR headset and put on surround sound headphones. If you have good ones like Bose or something like that, even better.
Right.
But you watch a movie and it's just like, it's insane. The problem is
Totally.
having that heavy shit on your face for hours is just not ideal.
Right.
We're not there yet. But anyway, we've been going for an hour and a half. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys want.
I'm done. I'm
the type of person I could stream for another 4 hours if you guys want to keep going.
There's not a doubt in my mind. Yeah, I think we need to sign off, and I really love the way this went. It's like I love podcasts where we get to catch up with whatever thoughts are on our mind and what we're looking forward to, and I think for us, because we're talking to each other before you sign off, is I just want to get really better at us planning these and almost also promoting them. You know what I mean? I think that if we promote them, we'll get to see, our viewership drop from, go up from 3 to 11. And
That's what, a 3 times increase almost.
Well, hey, right now it looks like we're at 4, so
4
we're
times.
up a little bit.
The thing is, and this is one of those things that I could give, it's something I had to get over, and it's like a thing that you just deal with when you do live content or live streaming or anything like that, is that you just have to give absolute energy regardless if it's 0. And you hear this with bands too, right? If I feel like every time we show up, we always give all the energy we can.
Yeah.
And then
Mm-hmm.
that's all that really matters. If
all that matters.
someone's watching this later, if someone's watching this live, great.
I've had to perform in front of 2 people in a stage play, and they were my mom and her sister.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it doesn't matter. But here's the thing: you still have to give 110%, regardless of who's in the audience, because you don't know who's in the audience
Well,
and what
us
kind of
three-
influence.
Us 3 would talk like this if we didn't turn on the record.
Yes, we would.
This is a relationship us 3
We
have.
normally, we have like a 30-minute conversation before where we could have recorded it, and we just don't. So, but no, I love and appreciate you guys. This
I love
was
and
great.
appreciate
Thank
you
so much.
Go ahead, Craig.
Yes.
Close us out. Love you guys.
All
Have a
right,
good
love and
weekend.
appreciate
And we
you
will
guys
promote
too.
these more. Yeah, next week,
Yeah.
Friday at noon. There you
All
go.
right.
Be here.
So-
There you go.
There we go. All right. Well, you can follow Robert Hollis at roberthollis.com. Also, if you'd like to join our exclusive community by going to roberthollis.com/video to subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's going to be lots of great content there for you to watch. You'll be able to participate in our special events to help you move on to the next level. Please don't forget to like and share this video on YouTube and with others. It will help us grow our community and reach out to those with ears to hear. Thank you and shout out to our executive producer, Matt Hollis. Matt, bless you. Thank you so very, very much. We appreciate you. And of course, Robert, bless you, my friend. Take care. Thank you again for being here and for putting this triumvirate together. It's a great thing that we can get together and just chat and
Yep.
share. So, my name is Craig A. Jackman. Thank you so very, very much. Please be good to yourselves, be cash, and until next time, bye for now.
Love you,
Thank
Craig.
you, everybody.